Hello and welcome back to Loftside Bantr. This is your host, Andrew Daventopoulos. And on today's show, we're going to be meeting with Marina Dickey, who is a member of the New Hampshire Rebellion, part of the Women's Football Alliance. We're going to have her on, ask her a few questions about the WFA, kind of where it's come from, where it's going. We'll ask her about the team. We'll ask her what inspired her to play women's tackle football. We'll also ask her about what it feels like to compete in what is considered a man's sport. We'll get all of her opinions and more on this episode of Loftside Bantr. All right, and welcome back to Loftside Bantr. The sound effects are getting a little bit of a budget boost here, which is great. Today we have Marina Dickey, who is part of the New Hampshire Rebellion, part of the Women's Football Alliance. Marina, how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's Friday, so we're doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. I had today off, so I didn't have to think about anything. The Women's Football Alliance. You are part of it. I know that there's 3 divisions. I know when it was formed. I did my research. I did a little bit of research.
Good job.
So it was formed in 2009. So what does the Women's Football Alliance mean to you?
It's a movement. It's a place where the little girls who want to play football, who couldn't play football, now get to play football. It's the future. It's growing every single day. Every year, the WFA just keeps getting bigger and better and growing across all platforms.
So I mentioned that you play for the New Hampshire Rebellion. So kind of what position do you play? You know, what is the New Hampshire Rebellion? Where kind of did it start?
So I currently play left guard. I also will play nose tackle and defensive end. You will not catch me playing any skill positions. I am not fast enough for that. The New Hampshire Rebellion actually started in a kitchen in Nashua. We were formerly known as the Northeast Ruckus. We were unhappy with management, so there was a tiny group of us that started a rebellion and decided that this is what our team was going to be from now on.
So you actually started a rebellion legitimately, huh?
Yep. Yep. In going through names we wanted for the team, it was like rebellion, mutiny, things like that, because that's what we did. Was we rebelled against something that we didn't agree with and wanted better for our team.
Okay. And so I know there's 3 divisions within the WFA. There's a pro league and then 2 semi-pro leagues. Is that how it's structured?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you play in one of the semi-pro leagues. So is this like a for the love of the game type thing, or is this a, paid position type stuff?
So the entire WFA is a love of the game position. The pros are just, they've got more resources, they've got more players, they play at the top tier of our league. But the 2 divisions below them, though there's nothing against them, us girls put in a lot of work and we do pay to play. A lot of us are nonprofits, so we live off of fundraisers, which we're doing one right now. Actually, I just posted it this morning. Fundraisers, donations, sponsors, and girls paying their dues.
Okay. Is there, outside of your Facebook, is there any other place they can go to donate or anything else like that?
So we do have a website. It is NewHampshireRebellion.com. I know it's a lot, but on that, it'll take you everywhere. You can email us, contact us if you want any sponsorships, things like that.
All right. So what really kind of inspired you to play? What made you want to join this movement?
Well, I don't know if you remember when we were in high school, but I absolutely wanted to play on the boys team so bad. And there was one coach that was like, absolutely no girls on my team.
Uh-huh.
So
Gotcha.
I've always wanted to play. My mom actually sent me a Facebook post for the original team. And she was like, you should play. And At that time, I was working 2 jobs, and I was like, I just don't have time. Fun fact, I now definitely don't have time, but that's because football is my entire life. As it got closer to the tryout date, I was kind of like, if I don't at least attempt and try out, I'm probably going to regret it for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So I went to the tryout, fell in love, told my second job I was out, and I started playing football.
That's pretty cool, actually, that you can just walk into a job and be like, hey, I'm going to be a football player. Bye.
It's funny now because, like, if I have to go on a job interview or anything like that, and I'm like, they're like, what's one fun fact that we don't know about you? And I'm like, I play semi-professional football. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, here's all those credentials.
If I haven't made it clear to any of the listeners out there, so this is tackle football, the whole 9 yards. This isn't some flag football, nothing, anything like that. So nope. How does it feel to compete in what is considered basically a man's sport?
I think it's great. I absolutely love it. I call it the best form of therapy I've ever had. I've also made the most amazing friends on my team. Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time with these girls. You get to know each other very quickly and a lot. You're spending a lot of time. But I think another great thing about it is it's becoming more known that women play, because the guys' teams that I know as well also support us. They think it's the most cool thing in the world. A lot of the guys have daughters, and they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely, from everything that I've read, and it's come a long way where you guys have your national championship airing on either ESPN, the Women's Sports Network, Comcast, different outlets like that. So that's pretty cool. Do you
ESPN
ever get...
features it, and Snoop Dogg features it too on his stories all the time.
Very cool. Well, now I know who to call when I need to interview Snoop Dogg. So,
I'll see what I can do.
Do you ever get any sort of pushback or anything from people that are maybe stuck in the past with the way things should be, quote unquote?
Not that I've seen. I have heard of some gentleman saying something about, like, yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it's not as good, but the people in the football community get it. Because, like, I say I play football, and they're like, yep, we know that you do. Like, it's just one of those things. So as the sport for women grows, people, I think, are more and more believing in the women.
Gotcha. So how many games do you guys kind of play in a season?
So in season, there are 6 regular games, and then 2 playoff games, and then a championship game.
And where do you guys play your games?
So currently we've been based out of Manchester, New Hampshire. We're always looking for the best fields to play on. So sometimes that can change. Our away games vary. We can go to Connecticut, Maine, Pennsylvania, New York. When we do get to the second round of playoffs, it's usually like a North versus South in the conference part. So either they'll come up here or we'll go down to Florida, North Carolina, things like that. And then championship is actually played at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Ohio. We play all games in one weekend at that one field.
So it's all the championships play there? All divisions?
And our All-American games as well.
Gotcha. You were All-American last year?
Two-time All-American.
Two-time All-American. I haven't done all my research, apparently.
So I got it. I actually got All-American my rookie year. So I got All-American and Rookie of the Year for my team. And then, yes, last year I got my second All-American bid.
Very nice. Congratulations. Thank you. So what drew you to football, like, as kind of a fan? Like, what made you like the sport?
Well, growing up, I grew up a Pats fan back in the day. Grew up my entire life. So I've been here when we sucked, when we were great, and when we sucked again. And I don't know. I've always enjoyed it. It was something that me and my family watched every Sunday religiously. I like to tell people that my daddy taught me about pass interference and Ozzy Osbourne. So it's just been something that's been part of my life. And I think that it is the American sport. Yes, I know baseball has that moniker, but I really do think that football is America's sport. So it's one of those unifying things.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, no matter what kind of differences everybody has in a certain region, you always kind of root for the same team. Obviously you have people that are, rooting for other teams or whatever, but for the most part, New England is red, white, and blue for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
No matter how terrible they were the last couple of years, but at least they're looking.
The amount of times I will get text messages from some of my friends that live out of state who are still Pats fans, and they're like, "Can you just go try out for the Pats?" Because I know that I predominantly play O-line. They're like, "Can you just go try out?" And I'm like, "Listen, I wish I could." I'm like, "That would be great."
Yeah, they could have used all the help they could get on the offensive line last year. That is for sure. What's the best part about being part of this league or team? I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but what else can you say is the best part from that?
I like all of it. I like creating history with these teammates. I like creating friendships with these teammates, and being able to play a sport. I was an athlete all throughout high school, and then once you're done, if you don't go to college, you're done. So to pick up something, to be healthy, to make friends, to kind of fight for something and know that I am a part of history with it is just a little cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously far too old and rickety and falling apart to play any sort of team sport right now, but the camaraderie that comes with playing in team sports is second to none. There's one thing I could probably compare it to. It's probably a bit more in depth with it, which is being military, being part of a unit. But I would say right after that comes, the wanting to fight for the people next to you, whether it's football, baseball, whatever the case may be. So I can definitely understand that.
These girls are a part of my life from January to July, twice to 3 times a week. If not, I'm on the phone talking to them. I'm texting them. I've been in weddings. I've, baby showers, graduations. These are my people.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Now, is there a lot of turnover from season to season, or is it typically the same people?
There is a core group of us that are constantly coming back. This year we have 9 returning players. I think last year was 13 returning players, but we're always recruiting. We're always trying to be active and get more girls to join. It takes 22 to 33 people to round out a football team. So everybody's always needed for something.
Yeah. How does somebody get tickets to a game?
So this year, we actually don't charge for admission into games. It is free. It's a family event. We want you to come watch it, come support us, things like that. The only thing we ask is maybe a donation, maybe buy some merch from us, things like that. Spread the word, bring your friends. But as of right now, we are not doing tickets for admission.
So there's no excuse for nobody to show up, right?
Right.
Everybody
exactly.
needs to show up. What other activities or sports are you associated with right now?
So as a player, I also play rugby. I play that out of Dover, New Hampshire.
What's the rugby team?
So the rugby team is the Seacoast Tugboats. We're out of Dover, New Hampshire. Again, an all-women's team. I'll be playing my bye weeks from football. I'll be playing rugby with them. So we do have a spring and fall session. As a person, I am on the board for my women's team, which means I help out with all our social media and stuff like that. I am the media relations director for the men's team, the Seacoast Warhawks, in the spring. I am the media relations and a board member for the summer team, the Granite State Destroyers out of Manchester, New Hampshire.
So you're just everywhere.
I also do photography for any team that wants to book me if I'm not busy. So
what's the photography?
I try to stay very busy.
What's the photography company?
It's called Trench Action Photography.
So I saw that the other day, and I knew I was going to ask you that because I want you to promote it. You are just everywhere.
I try to be. I try to be.
Is there anything else that you want to be a part of that you haven't had the chance to, or are we running on fumes? Not enough time in a day?
I am a sleepy girl in a very productive girl's body. So I am constantly running on fumes. Like we just dropped our rebrand for the Granite State men's team as we started this podcast. So I've been staring at my phone watching numbers drop and things like that. But more, I don't know. I'd love to work with either like the Mass Pirates or, maybe an NFL team and, show them that, hey, there's women that play too. You should be looking at them.
Now, I also know that the WFA has produced the people that have gone on to coach in the NFL and everything else like that. I believe it was Katie Showers for the 49ers.
Yep. Correct.
Jennifer King, is she the commissioner for your league?
No, that's Lisa King.
Lisa King. Okay. And then Jennifer King went on to coach with the Redskins, stuff like that. Or she was the first.
Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders. That's right. Oh, I'll never get used to that. I have to say that I've known you for a long time, and I know.
Yes, for those who don't know, we went to high school together.
Yes, we did go to high school.
Coming up on 20 years, Tapa.
I know. 20 years. Don't remind me. All this stuff is right up your alley. From everything that I can remember, and I realize we don't talk as much as we used to. We do every so often, but all the stuff that you're telling me, I could absolutely foresee you doing, and I'm glad that you're doing, and I'm proud of you, and everything else like that. I don't mean to come off as preachy, but so your first game is in Connecticut against the Connecticut Ambush.
Correct.
Were they a team last year, or are there different teams every year, or are we kind of still consistent?
So they were a team last year. What happened with the Ambush is that Connecticut had 3 women's teams, and instead of continuously having 3 different teams, they decided to merge as one, rebrand themselves, and come back as the Ambush, which makes me so happy for them because a lot of them deserve it. So last year was their first year as the Ambush, and so now we'll be playing them again this year.
Very nice. So, I was kind of looking over the business plan and everything else like that because apparently I'm a businessman now. But so this league promotes teams kind of joining and having good travel arrangements, keeping everybody kind of close because there's a bunch of teams in your kind of division or your league. Some Miami and stuff like that, like you mentioned before. But you're mainly staying kind of around here.
Yeah, so we're like Division 3 Northeast. So we'll play Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We'll play upstate New York. In the past, we've played Maine, Connecticut, things like that.
Mm-hmm. The Lady Predators, which I love the logo for, by the way.
Yeah, so they're actually a sister team of the Upstate Predators, which is a team of men's at semi-pro. They're just in a different league than the guys I manage.
So, for everybody out there, the WFA New Hampshire Rebellion, they're free tickets to go out and see. Always looking for donations. This is something that is fairly recent. It is growing. It is obviously gaining an audience. So everybody should go out, catch a game this year. I'm going to try to do that. I've also made that conscious decision to try to come out to one this year.
Heck yeah.
So now
let's do a live podcast from the game.
I would love to do that. Again, I'm trying to fix all these different things. So we have a whole bunch of different stuff that I have 5 mics now that I'm trying, but I did get lapel mics, so we can do remote, which is great. So as of right now, who's your favorite player currently right now in anything? NFL, Women's League?
My favorite player is the next one that joins my team. But in all seriousness, I do love the girls that play on my line. I love the girls that play my skilly positions that I can never play. But, my favorite player is probably, it's a tie between all time is Richard Seymour, which I think you knew that because of my dog. And then probably Lane Johnson. I love him. I think he's great.
I mean, for a guy that lets nobody past him, I mean, it's definitely, as much as I had no winner in the Super Bowl this year because I didn't want either team to win, but the Eagles, they've been great. They were great all year. I like seeing them beat the Chiefs so that way the Patriots still have that kind of best team over a span. Again, that's just me being a selfish sports fan, but.
Listen, I was watching that game, and the only thing I kept saying was, go offense. And I was checking football squares because we do those as a fundraiser, so I had to keep looking at who won.
Yeah. So your favorite player all time was Seymour, like you said. You also have a dog named Gronk, which
I do.
Also fits that narrative as well. So
if you got a dog named Brewski, too, when I was in high school.
Yep. That's right. I do remember Brewski.
My next one will probably be Ninkovich.
Ninkovich?
Yeah.
No Vrabel?
I don't know yet.
If you get a female dog, you can name it May.
I don't know. I just like to run down the list of guys.
Yeah.
On the Patriots for some reason. It's always been a thing.
So what are your aspirations for the team this year? So are you guys going for a championship? What are the aspirations for the team?
The aspirations for the team are to honestly winning is a very big plus, and it's a great feeling when you win. But to have we're about half veterans, half rookies. So I want those rookies to know what it feels like to play, to know what it feels like. I'll take one win a game. I obviously will always aspire for more, but I'll take one. I want those rookies to know what it feels like and come back. So that way, after these past 2 years of like rebuilding the rebellion, where we come back and take it all. Like, I'm here to play until the wheels fall off. So every year I'll aspire to head to a championship game. Am I reaching? Probably. Are we still going to try? Obviously. But I know we'll get there, but I want these girls to have a good season.
Excellent. I mean, I'm if you remember, I'm just super competitive on anything, and I always want to win. But for something like this, where it's being built and, like you said, being redone as far as the rebellion is concerned, I mean, I think it's a great way to look at it. Is you want people to keep coming back, keep playing, and you want something to be built for long term. And like I said, I'm proud of you. You've been part of something that's. I mean, it's crazy to me to think that you're a professional football player.
I know.
But is there anything else that you want to promote, say, or anything else like that before we start to wrap up?
No, just support your local teams, any of them, whether it be rugby, softball, football. There's always something going on. There's always ways to help. There's probably a team that you can go watch. And what a great way to spend like a Saturday afternoon, where rugby is a Saturday morning. So you still have the whole day to go do stuff. So just go support these local teams because they're going to need it.
I agree. Go support all of them. So you are professional football player, rugby player, photographer, team manager,
board member.
I mean,
I'm a very tired girl.
Well, I appreciate your time. I fully plan on asking you to come back during any season to have players from any of these teams come on. You are somebody that I think has a wealth of knowledge that can really actually help me, which is great because this is what I went to school for and never did anything with it, and now I'm trying to do it. So, at a very small scale, trying to do what you do. So, I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Papa. I appreciate you having me.
I wish you all the luck, and again, we'll keep in touch. And like I said, I'll have you back on with some teammates of other teams that you're doing and everything else.
Absolutely, we're always available.
So I appreciate it. For everybody, again, that's NewHampshireRebellion.com. Go take a look. There are fundraisers going on. Marina Dickey on Facebook, so that way you can go donate. And then Any questions? I'm sure she could answer them for you. So,
Absolutely. I'm always available.
all right. Thank you very much, Marina.
Thanks, Taba.
All right. And a very special thank you to Marina for coming on the show, talking with me, answering all my hard-hitting questions. Again, that's NewHampshireRebellion.com, NewHampshireRebellion.com. Part of the Women's Football Alliance. Their first game is in Connecticut against the Connecticut Ambush. Their first home game is against the Harrisburg Havoc. And like she said, that will be in Manchester, New Hampshire. So the Women's Football Alliance, WFA ProFootball.com. And then you can also see her photography at Trench Action Photography on Facebook. One little bit of sports news from outside all the great things Marina's doing is the Boston Celtics, for most of you have heard, have sold for $6.1 billion. I did not stutter. $6.1 billion. The purchaser, a group led by Bill Chisholm, who's the managing partner at Symphony Technology Group. He says he's a lifelong Boston Celtics fan, knows all. He's an encyclopedia of all this. There's obviously some changes that are going to come with the Boston Celtics, and, it's too early to speculate. I hope the winning ways are going to continue. One of the other weird caveats of this deal is that Wyc Grousbeck gets to stay on for 2 more years, being kind of like a liaison between him and the league itself. I don't know if it's it's just a weird thing that's kind of happened with that. But nonetheless, the Boston Celtics sold for $6.1 billion, which is $2.1 billion more dollars than what the Phoenix Suns were sold for 2 years ago. So quite a steep incline in what franchises are going for these days. I feel this was a great show. It's great to have somebody on that's doing so much and being able to help support that. For Loftside Bantr itself, we are looking at a couple of different avenues in which we're still going to take this. So we've done this for about a month now, and we've had a great bit of support come in. We are obviously at rss.com. We are on Apple Podcasts at Loftside Bantr. We are on iHeartRadio, Spotify. We are now on YouTube, where I will be doing some video podcasting, at least for myself to start off with. So I did one the other day where I picked my bracket. If anybody followed me, I'm terribly, terribly sorry. I believe I got 70% right so far. So again, I told some of my friends the other day that, when you actually filled out a paper bracket, at least at the end of the day, it could be used in toilet paper in an emergency. And now that it's done online, it's just nothing. It's terrible to look at. It's terrible to feel. But, where it's almost impossible to have a perfect bracket, I'll take my 70%. But, of course, I do all the research, and I have friends that just kind of pick things based upon, Drake's a rapper. Let's just pick that. So, unfortunately, all the research in the world doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of how these things are done and how it's all picked and everything else. With all that said, again, that was a 15-minute video. I've had people watch that, which is great. And then the email address is still Loftside Bantr. Bantr is Bantr. So loftsidebanter@gmail.com. We've done quite a bit of different things going forward. We are going to get some gaming content out there. I'm working with people with that. I'm on Twitch as Disillusioned Gamer 1. Again, it's Disillusioned Gamer 1 for Twitch. We're trying to keep all this stuff together, doing sports and movies and gaming, all of the things in the media world that have huge followings. And I can't thank you enough for the support so far. With about a month in, and we've had quite a few views and quite a few followers. I've had people listen in the UK. I've had somebody listen from Cameroon. I have a listener in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know who you are. Thank you very much for that. And then I've had Missouri, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and that's pretty cool that it's reached out that far in such a short amount of time. Again, we're only going to get better from here, and we're really going to put some resources behind this. We're working on trying to get, better audio, better sound effects, all those different things. And then, like I said, we're going to be doing video podcasts and then hopefully going out and being able to interview people out there. So we've reached out to a bunch of people for interviews, and then, we'll get all the friends back together. There's a lot of positive things coming out of this, and again, I'm just greatly appreciative of all that. This is Loftside Bantr. Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. We hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.